I've been a big fan of old school side-scrolling beat-em-ups ever since playing Double Dragon in the arcades. I love playing Double Dragon 2 on my NES, Final Fight on the SNES, and the Streets of Rage series, especially Streets of Rage 2 on the Sega Mega Drive. Squareboy Vs Bullies is a throwback to those old school beat-em-ups, and while it's good, it doesn't quite live up to the best of the genre. You play as Squareboy. After getting beaten up by some bullies, you're trained to fight by a martial arts master. You proceed to take down the gang of bullies that terrorized you. Your quest takes you from the streets to the docks to your dojo and ultimately to the bully boss's headquarters. Along the way you'll fight a variety of bullies, some with weapons like guns or baseball bats, and even some ninjas. Like Double Dragon, the gameplay is straightforward. You have a punch button and a jump button, but using a combination of those two buttons and the face buttons, you have a variety of moves at your disposal. You can uppercut, kick, grab and throw your enemies, as well as pick up weapons to use against the bullies. The gameplay was good, it was easy to figure out, and Squareboy is agile and fast enough to deal with all the bullies. There was one frustration with the gameplay, and that was accidentally grabbing enemies. When you grab an enemy, you're stuck in place, temporarily leaving you exposed to attack from other bullies. It happened far too frequently, and I died a couple of times because of it. It's not a huge issue as you learn to stand a bit further back from the bad guys to avoid it happening all the time, but it was a little bit annoying. The game is pretty easy and short. It took around 1.5 hours to finish, and during my playthrough I only died 3 times. When you die, you start back at the beginning of the level, so you don't lose a huge amount of progress, since levels are pretty short. There are health pickups through the levels, and aside from the last level, I think they're almost too frequent. I was very rarely in a position to worry about my health because the health items were so frequent. The final level became more difficult not because the enemies were so much harder, but because there were only a couple of health items for the whole level. The pixel graphics were nice and the music, while not memorable, worked for the game. I like the sound effects of Squareboy punching and beating up the bullies, but it would have been nice if there was more variety to the music. I also wanted to add that Ratalaika Games have been doing a great job when it comes to supporting the Vita. With the game so cheap, there's no harm in giving them some support back. Also, it's a very easy platinum. So would I recommend the game? Yes, but with a caveat. It's a fun game, cheap and easy to pick up and play, but it's nowhere near on the level of Final Fight or Streets of Rage 2. For one thing, it's missing those memorable boss fights. I still remember me and my brother fighting Shiva for the first time in Streets of Rage 2. How tough it was to beat him and the feeling of accomplishment from doing it. You don't have that in Squareboy. The difficulty increases progressively, but I never felt too challenged or worried about losing playing it. Since we'll likely never have Streets of Rage 2 on the Vita, this is not a bad alternative. So guys, what's your favourite side-scrolling beat-em-up? Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.